How many people have been scuba diving?
Yeah.
Okay, lots of divers, and you know what I'm talking about. To start off anyway. I went diving with a friend of mine, and we were swimming along the reef, and we saw a moray eel. And it was in the reef going like this. You know, they grab a little hole and they just stick their head out a little bit, and it goes back and forth with the surge of the wave, back and forth like that. And so I said to Mitch, I'm going to take your photo. Now I waved to him to indicate that because we were underwater. So I waved him over. And he got within 3 feet of it, and I had my underwater camera, and I'm going to take his photo. He's not close enough. You know, I want his head next, like, close to the moray eel. So I waved him in a little bit more. And he moved in, and it wasn't close enough yet. I waved him one more time. He looked at me, he's like kind of like, are you sure? I said, yeah, move in. So the moray eel's going like this. And Mitch moves in closer. And I have my camera, and we're just ready to take that photo, and suddenly Mitch turns around and swims away as fast as he can, and the eel comes out after him. He got away just in time. And I checked my camera later, and all I had was a photo of Mitch's feet and a moray eel coming out after him. And I said to Mitch, how did you know that he had to get away? And he said he was watching, and the eel was going back and forth and just minding his own business and looking all around. He got a little closer and a little closer, and then there was one certain moment when, as he got close, the eel stopped and looked right at him. He kind of went, so the eel turned this and went, ugh. He said, in that moment, he knew he had to run. And I always remember that because you need to know it can save your life. That little piece of information, that feeling inside when to run. How many people here, raise your hand if you agree that child abuse is wrong? Everyone agrees, child abuse is wrong. Well, I should tell you that my parents would disagree with you. Absolutely. My parents had 4 boys who were all little rambunctious. Mike, Mark, Matt, and Mitch. And I'm Mark, I'm the second one. I'm the devious one, of course. The second one always is. And we were hard to control, I'll admit that, and we broke a lot of furniture. And so they came home one time from a visit with friends with giant smiles on their faces that I wondered, why are they so happy? And finally they showed us what they had bought, and it was a souvenir canoe paddle. You know, a typical canoe paddle is about 6 feet long and used it to paddle the boat. It's solid wood. This was half that size, and solid wood with a good grip handle on it to use. And their idea was, if we fell out of line, they could use the canoe paddle to hit us. And to drive home their point, they lined all 4 of us up and hit us once each with the canoe paddle because they wanted us to know how much it hurt. And I can tell you, it hurt a lot. And that was just being hit once. But it worked because after that, whenever we were out of control, my dad would say, I'm going to go get the canoe paddle. And we stopped whatever we were doing because we lived in fear of that canoe paddle. We didn't want to get hit. We didn't want to get hit by that. But as it goes, one day they were not home, and they had a hard and fast rule when they weren't home. That was, we are not allowed to go in their bedroom, which was a very hard rule to enforce because they had a bed as big as a trampoline, and that's what we saw it for. It was a trampoline. So when they left, we got the check, we got the driveway. Okay, they're gone, and then sneak into their room. And usually we want to be two things: jump on the bed or find the canoe paddle. Our idea is that if we find that sucker, we're hiding it. Because we don't want to get hit by that next time they're upset. But we never found it. They left one time, I went in their room. My brothers didn't know that I was in there, and I was jumping on the bed. I was about 8. Jumping and having a good time, not really watching as close as I could, you know, just thinking to myself, got off to the side of the bed, I'm one time down, 1 foot hit the bed and 1 foot didn't. And I tumbled out of the bed, went into a roll, and slammed my head against the
It didn't fall out, but it just shattered in the frame. It was like 6 feet big, you know, with a full meter. So I was in a dilemma, right? Because I didn't want to get, I was going to get the Canoe Paddle. So I didn't tell anyone. I just locked the door, left the room like I'd never been. And then they came home. In a little while, sure enough, they started screaming, "Who's the one who broke the mirror? Who did this?" Nobody would say anything. And then they came, lined us all up, and had a stern talk with us and said, "Which one of you broke the mirror? Honesty is the best policy. Who broke the mirror?" And none of us said anything. And then my brother Matt said to my brother Mike, you know, just tell him. If you did, just tell him. So I saw my opening there, so I turned to my brother Mitch and went, "Come on, Mitch. If it's you, just tell him." I didn't want to fess up because I didn't want to get the spanking. And nobody told, of course, I was the one who had done it. So then my dad said, if nobody fesses up to this crime, if no one says who admits it, you are all going to get a spanking. I guess a normal person would kind of go, boy, you know, I should save the innocent, look after my brothers. My thinking was, you know, a spanking watered down by 4 is going to be a lot less of a spanking than a spanking given with the known culprit with conviction. You know, I didn't want a bad spanking, so I didn't say anything. And some of my brothers started to cry, and I didn't say it was me. And we all got a spanking with the Canoe Paddle, and it hurt. Some years later, when we were in our 20s, this is a full decade plus later, we were at a family reunion, and there was hot dogs and beer and outside of a big barbecue, and it was a really nice atmosphere. My aunts and uncles are there, my brothers, my mom, my dad, they're all there. And you know, I lived with the guilt for a long time, and I thought, you know what, this seems like the right time to come clean. All the brothers are growing up, we're adults, we get along well, all that childhood fighting, that's all gone. It's the right time. So we were sitting around in a circle, everybody's having something to drink. I finally looked and said, you know, I want to tell you guys something. Remember the mirror that was broken when we were young? And we all got a beating for that? I said, that was me. You know, I thought it was the right time to come clean. And I have to tell you, I miscalculated. remember the moray eel, and it just went back and forth like this, and then there was that moment? That's what my brothers looked like. I was looking around and said, that was me. And you know, it was kind of playful talking and everything, and all of a sudden there was this little you know, focus on me. And I could see their heads come forward. And in that moment, I knew there was trouble. And I got up, and even my mom sensed the trouble because I could hear my mom start saying, "Run!" I got up, and I knew I was in trouble. And I made my move before they could react. And I started running down the street with 3 grown men chasing me with blood in their eyes. All these years later, I had miscalculated. Thank God I was in decent shape because I ran hard. And they chased me a long way, I mean for blocks and blocks. There was one point I'd gone 3 or 4 blocks and I looked behind me, I thought they must have given up. No, they were closer. That's the kind of conviction that they chased me with. And so I ran hard, and finally, they did catch me. And I have to say, the good news was, I made them run so long that they at least were too tired when they caught me. And so they wanted to eat me, but they didn't do it with the pain they wanted to inflict in their heart. You know, by that time, it was a couple of little slaps, and they hit here, and a little bit of a push, and here we are, you. What a guy, you know? That kind of thing. And then we all walked back together. And it's like, oh man, I escaped that one. But I'm always leery now when we go to family events. Right? I'm always leery when I go to the family events because they didn't really get their moment. And I know they're still looking for that moment. So when I go to a family event now, I should tell you what I do, and I recommend it for you. 2 pieces of advice. If you've ever upset close family or close friends and it's still lingering, this is my advice. 1, sit near the closest exit in case the story comes up again. You want to do that. And my second piece of advice is watch out for the moray eagles. Humans are still out there. Thank you.
Thank you.